And we're live. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Power Hour podcast. My name is Howden, and I'm here with Chris Huntingford. Chris, what a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time today. I've got so many questions to ask you. But yeah, I mean, how are you today? I guess is the first
Uh,
question.
well, Hunting, thank you for having me, number one. And yeah, pretty good, man. It's been a wild few weeks. I've been running around the world, did AI tour in London. Man, I've been like, I don't think I'd ever say this in my life, but I'm socialized out as far as going out goes. I
Yeah,
need a nap. But yeah, no,
yeah,
awesome,
yeah.
man. Very, very good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm okay, thank you. I mean, I don't think I've been as social as you. I think I'm maybe similar to you in the sense of I'm more of an introvert. I'm not sure how you
Yeah.
describe yourself, but like I have a pretty low social battery. So I've got the MVP summit next week, so I'm trying to kind of conserve all my energy for that, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, as you
So,
should. Yeah, I'll be there as well. Oh, excuse me. As you could
of
tell,
course.
I'll be there as well. But I did a dumb thing. I forgot to register, so I'm going to be there virtually, but in Seattle doing things as well. It's a really interesting
Amazing.
scenario.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Well,
so we should hopefully see you there.
yeah, hopefully we can
Yeah.
get a coffee. But
Yes.
I mean, Chris, you have a very interesting story. I want to get straight into it.
Yeah.
Um I guess the first question I have for you is how did you get started and what was the journey like for you with the Power Platform and in general in your career?
So it's a bit of an interesting one, right? So like I wrote code at school.
Mm,
I started out in like Pascal and did some QBasic, and then my neighbor across the road used to when I was a young man. I was probably like, God, I was young. I reckon I was probably like 12.
yeah,
Maybe no, maybe I don't know. Anyway, so like I used to go to him and he used to teach me some stuff around the computers. But like at school, I was really where I learned how to do stuff. I wrote a lot of cool things in Delphi. Um, and then when I left school, I joined a place as a storeman, so I was packing shelves,
hmm
and they had a like I was helping manage like timesheets and things there. And they were like, "Oh, this timesheet system's so crap," and I'm like, "Dude, I'll write you another one." So I did. I actually still weirdly have the code for it, which is
That's
wild.
crazy.
Yeah, check this out. Do you want to see it?
Let's
I
see
think
it.
I think it's this one. Is it this one? No, it's not. Well, I do have it somewhere, right? So I actually have a file, a giant Archlever file, filled with all this code that I wrote. Like I printed it out for some dumb reason, but yeah, I wrote that, and I was like, oh, this is cool, right? Because I loved writing code in Delphi, and then
Mm,
also I was learning how to do stuff and things like Rockwell automation. So PLC, so programmable logic controllers, basically working with machinery. So like they had this tool called RS Logics. So I learned how to build SCADA systems, which is like this visual view on how to like how the actual tools, the physical machine interacts with the patch panel or the panel
hmm
at least, which interacts with the software. So
hmm
I learned that, and then ended up going to. I got retrenched from that place in South Africa, so I went to a chemical company where I was IT admin. So I was like running network cables and stuff, and I learned that skill. So I did that in my spare time and made extra money. And then I ended up working for Borland. And Borland had a subset called Unico, and Unico wrote, so Borland basically built Delphi. And I ended up working for this other company called Borland Unico. So they wrote this freight software. And I used my software programming skills there, and I was deploying freight software all over the place. And then I got headhunted by the people I was deploying for. Then I started my own company. But the crazy part was the lady that I met at Borland, a lady by the name of Liz Wills, and I became friends. And she was working for a Microsoft partner called IS Partners. This was in 2008. And she employed me there. And I had to write an IQ test, and I scored, I don't know, they said I scored pretty good. So they employed me. And I remember walking in, man, I had this like sketchy eyebrow ring. I arrived in skater shoes and a black shirt. They were like, okay, this guy looks sketchy. But they employed me, and they mentored me into like learning C sharp. So I learned that. I learned how to use Dynamics CRM version 3. And holy shit, man, it's been wild since then. Like from
Mm,
that day, like just picking up all of that stuff. But I came to the UK, I think in 2000 and I want to say 2013, right?
mhm.
And that was different. That was weird, right? But like working in South Africa was really good. It was super fun. Had some incidents,
Yeah.
which I may or may not share on this call. But
Okay.
yeah, the UK move was really, really interested in like in the as soon as I got to the UK, like that's where community growth started happening. I got mentored into dynamics over here. Like there are lots of lovely people like Andrew Bibby. that were part of that.
Mhm.
So he was the first guy to stick me on stage. Unfortunately for him, because my fly was down during the presentation,
Oh,
and I told
amazing.
everyone, yeah, yeah. But yeah, Power Plat on inception, man. I was actually building stuff in Power Plat when it was called Project Sienna.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like this terrible Windows-based application thing that,
Mm.
yeah, it was fun. But yeah, from the day Power Platform came out, I was using it like avidly, and it's been wild ever since then, man. Like
Yeah.
lots of career moves and things. Done Microsoft,
Ah,
done Avanade. Yeah, so it's been good. It's been good.
yeah. Amazing. And now at ANS, Director of
Yeah,
Artificial Intelligence. Amazing.
yeah.
Congratulations on that promotion, by the way. You've been in the
Thank you,
role
dude.
for a few months.
Yeah.
Um, and we'll get into how that's been for you. But just to kind of dial back into the community aspect of
Yeah.
things, man, you're everywhere. Like you're speaking, you're presenting, you're mentoring. Like, number one, how the hell do you get the time to do all of it? And number two, how has that been for you?
Um, yeah, so I'm quite lucky, dude, because I'm very neurodivergent. Okay.
Mm.
And like to the point where I can't stop fidgeting and playing with stuff. But I call it the 8-lane highway, right? And it's the
Mm.
easiest way I can explain it. So think of it as like multi-threading, where for some reason I'm able to do like varying things in varying threads quite a lot. And just give me a second. And that's quite fun. Just give me a second. Thank you.
No, no
Thank
worries.
you. Yeah. So I'm able to do like varying things at once in succession, but without. Sorry, that was my son. He's just randomly bringing me a box.
No
um,
worries.
yeah. So like I'm able to do like varying things in succession, so I can context switch really quickly.
Mm.
I don't know if that's a good thing, but I
Mm.
learned it in pre-sales when doing like 1 minute you're doing a financial services demo, next minute you're doing a NHS demo, the next minute you're talking to somebody and being empathetic. So like I'm able to context switch extremely fast. My
Mm.
wife calls it squirreling, right? But yeah, it's quite cool. So that's how I get a lot of stuff done. I can just do things in quick succession without having to rest or think.
Mm.
Um, so in the community side, like I actually don't know quite how it happened. Like Andy put me on stage once at a thing, and I guess I developed my own style of presenting. I don't know, but
Yeah.
like I'm always quite direct and quite, like this is matter of fact, and I have a very
You're
different.
very real. Very
Oh,
real.
thank you. Oh, thank you,
100%.
man.
No, like your personality shows. Like I attended one of your conferences in Scotland in the last Scottish Summit, and very authentic, very genuine. Your personality really comes through. So yeah, like
Thank you.
I think a lot of people aspire to have that sort of personality style. Sorry, and presentation style
Yeah.
as well, I should say.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's a huge compliment because I never know, right? Like my vibe is just get on stage, tell people about experiences that I've had. Some of
Yeah.
them are great, some of them are not so good. But like I don't my thing is I don't wanna come across as unauthentic. I just want to make sure that what I say resonates and I hope it does. And
Mm.
yeah, so I guess the style was quite interesting. And somebody said it's I used to say to people, would you like the Bridget Jones version or the Tarantino version? And I used to
Nice.
say it to customers, yeah, and they'd go, "Oh, we want the Tarantino version." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So like line them up for expectation. And I used to
Mm.
be quite hardcore in my approach. Like I still am actually, where I just kind of say what's in my head and try not to be too overbearing, I guess. But
Mm.
I feel like the presentation approach is what kind of dialed it over. And then also I had this idea on in the community. I wanted to make presentations more interactive and also more like magic shows. I know it
Mm.
sounds childish, but hear me out, right? So when the Power Platform came out, I'm like, no, we have to build live solutions on stage. This is what we should be doing. We shouldn't be just pre-canning demos. So at Irish Summit, I built a model-driven app. Sorry, I did a data flow, a model-driven app, a Canvas app, a Power Automate, and a Power BI in 45 minutes with
Mm.
no pre-plan, nothing. I just had the Excel document. And
Mm.
I ran them through it, and people loved it, dude. Like I did it on UFO sightings. I started the presentation with a UFO video, and people loved it. And I feel like it was then that was where things really were like, okay, I found my thing. I found the way I do things. So
Mm.
now I've got no problem standing on stage. Totally, like if people just throw stuff at me, I'm happy to show it. If it breaks, I don't mind because that's real world, right? Like,
Mm.
and I tell people all the time, just experience what it is to be in the role. And I feel like that presentation style has stuck, right? And it's
Mm.
never gone away. And actually, I've really loved doing it. But I push the boundaries a lot, man. Like my recent one is ethical hacking on things like prompt injections and all of that.
Yeah.
but not in a bad way. But the cool thing is, I report it to Microsoft. I'm like, this is what I found, and then I'll run the presentation. And what's amazing is that everything I've done, they they've worked to like make the tools better, which is
Hmm.
incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been really, really good.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I mean, and that kind of transitions me on to another point, and I'm not sure how much you're allowed to say or what you're allowed to say about it, but director of artificial intelligence in a huge consultancy, one of the big four, ANS. Again, another congratulations on the
Thanks,
promotion.
man.
How's that been for you? I mean, that sounds like a
Um,
lot of responsibility, especially since even a lot of people in tech don't really know what to do with it.
yeah. So I have to correct you. So ANS is not Big Four. We're about 1,000 people around there.
Okay,
Well,
okay.
between yeah. But it's a hard role because okay. So I'm going to be quite brutal about AI in general. I don't think anyone really knows what they're doing with AI.
Hmm.
I think that we're all still feeling it out, man. I really do. I feel like we're kind of we're in a space where we don't really understand what it is AI is right now. And also, I think nobody really understands what they should be doing from a specialization perspective. So you get some people that are being like, oh, we do differential AI, all we do is make LLMs. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then some people are like, oh, we do AI, we do M365 Copilot adoption, therefore we are an AI company. I'm like, so at ANS, what I said to them is, I said, okay, so first of all, we do not make AI things.
Mm.
Right. So I said to them, we are not going to be a company that is going to go and implement custom LLMs. We're not going to be a company that goes to make all the AI tools. We're not good at that, dude. That's not what we do. I'm like, we are an AI enablement company. We are super good at data, super good at security, and super good at enablement, like driving people to use the tools. What we're
Hmm.
not going to do is go and provision 50 LLMs and a partridge in a pear tree. And we've been really honest with our customers about that, saying to them, we are not the partner for you if you want to go and custom dev a whole bunch of stuff. And
Hmm.
actually, can I be honest? That has been really good for us, right? Also, we can be quite hardcore about like how we work with people. So the minute somebody says, "Hey, you should be building us this thing," I can say no because that's not where we're good, right? Like we know
Hmm.
other partners. People like Curve can build AI solutions, like they're great. Go there, right? But we can
Hmm.
get you ready. Like that's where we're good. And I feel
Yeah.
like in society, I don't think enough partners are saying that. I don't think enough people are going out there and saying exactly what they're capable of doing. And for me, I would rather be honest with people. And also, what I'm telling folks on LinkedIn is to look up for stuff that I've looked out for. So, like as an example, I put a post up saying, if you are approached by an organization and they say they're going to build you an AI solution, you should ask them to evidence three things. And those three things are number one, evidence your resource profile. Who is the person that will do the actual work? Because I think there are a lot of people out there who say they can AI, and I don't think they can. The
Mm.
second thing is I'm like, evidence AI operations. How do you do things like ALM and testing? Because it's not the same in artificial intelligence as it is in regular tools. A lot of GPT tools are non-deterministic. You do not know the output. So how do you test that? How do you
Mm.
red team those solutions? Right. And I think that that's key. And the third thing, I'm like, show me your responsible AI framework. Show me what framework you're working to. Show me your transparency note templates. Evidence those for me. Right? Show me them. And if you can show me those tools, then I'll be like, for sure, you can build AI solutions. But until then, I'm like, sorry, guys, I need to see that because that to me is
Yeah.
something that drives governance and enablement.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Absolutely.
it's a long story, but yeah,
No, not at all. I mean, it's a strange one, isn't it? Because I feel like the boom happened, all of these companies automatically said we need AI, and then they probably went to a bunch of partners, and the rest was history. I mean, it's interesting that you have this kind of approach of saying no, which I think is really important
yeah,
in business, in life, at work. Um, I mean, like you said that they would have to have almost a list of things before you would say yes, and you mentioned responsible AI being one of them. I
yeah.
mean, what have you learned about responsible AI in this new role that you've taken on?
Also, that there are a lot of people out there that say they're doing responsible AI and are categorically not doing responsible AI.
Yeah.
Mm, I'll tell you why. Okay, so here's the thing. Responsible AI is not just about being transparent in where you're using a solution. Okay,
Hmm.
A- or AI in your solution. Responsible AI is bigger than that. It's about taking responsibility as an organization and as a person for what AI is happening with AI in the socioeconomic areas, right? So let me give you an example. you go to a customer, you deploy an AI solution, you up and leave. Okay,
Mhm.
that's fine. But have you done any education to them? Have you said to them, this is where AI is, this is what it does, this is how you red team, this is how you look after your AI solution? And I feel like not a lot of organizations do that. I feel like they go and walk in, plonk in a co-pilot, and they're done. And I'm like, that's not correct.
Mm.
That's where the enablement part comes. So responsible AI is not just about building a thing, it's about using a thing and using it responsibly. Um, the other thing that I found is not enough people are reading the law, right? So things like the UK 50-point plan, the EU AI Act, all of these things, a lot of people aren't just reading up what it's about. Let me give you an example. So the EU AI Act is extraterritorial. And what that means is that if you are a person that comes from the EU, if your little red book, well, I don't know what color they are in other countries, if that passport says that you are governed by the EU and you're part of the Act, no matter where you are, the EU AI Act applies. Okay,
Mm.
so I am now from an EU country. All right, I'm riding my bicycle in a certain London district. I hit a pothole and I crack my head open. The London district or the whichever one uses AI to review potholes. They haven't reviewed it properly. Who is at fault and who's liable? That's a problem because the
Mm.
EU AI Act does apply, right?
Yeah.
Now that's interesting. So I don't think enough people actually read the acts and understand the law, and for me that's an issue because that law directly applies to being responsible in your companies and yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, dude, that has been the scariest part for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've been seeing on LinkedIn, you've been experimenting with a lot of these different tools, probably complementary of your new role as well, Azure AI Foundry being one of them.
Yes.
You did mention ANS, as an organization, perhaps custom development isn't the go-to. It's more enablement and helping people get ready for AI as well as supporting them in that journey. Azure AI Foundry, from my understanding, is a good place for custom development. Would you
Yes.
say that's true?
Well, yes and no. So you can do it. You can actually provision some pretty good stuff in there without having to write a ton of code.
Mm.
Um, So, like, let me give you an example. You can provision a pretty well established, beautifully created co-pilot. I'm picking my words really carefully here. It's not an agent. You can
Yeah.
deploy a co-pilot on top of one of the models in the model catalog. You can push it through a web app or push it through something like Copilot Studio, which I'm trying still and cannot get right. But you can do that, right, without writing any code. Okay.
Mm.
But I would say that if you're going to do anything more chunky, you're going to need development skills.
Mm.
And this is where I say to people, actually, there's a very big difference between turning on AI services in Azure and building on AI services in Azure. Turning on a service, going, we've just enabled document intelligence, doesn't make you an AI company.
Mm.
Okay, and I need to get people to understand this very clearly. All you're doing is you're giving people the digital bricks. That does not mean you know how to use them. You might know how to turn on Azure services, but using them is a very different thing. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's why I'm quite hardcore about it. Like building copilots in Azure AI Foundry, absolutely, because that you will need to understand how to do the content management and the content filtering. There's a whole ton of stuff that comes with that. So I would say like Azure Azure AI Foundry is good for what I would call like differential AI, right? It's good for
Mm.
driving those really custom AI solutions that do make a massive difference. Yeah, that's just, and for me, by the way, I'm not a Foundry expert. Like, um, I'm learning it. I'm going through all the processes. I've turned on all the AI services. I'm getting a massive Azure bill, but I'm excited to get more stuck into it, right? Because it's really, really interesting. Yesterday, dude, I was stuck down a rabbit hole, man. I looked up and I'd been doing it for 5 hours.
Wow.
I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
By the way, just to
Crazy.
caveat that, I did play rugby with my son in the morning and did a gym session and did a whole bunch of other shit. So,
Very productive. Very
yes.
productive.
Yeah.
I commend that. I mean, like, I feel like we could talk about AI all day, Chris, and I feel like, you give a lot of presentations and talks about it. Something that really stuck out to me, and we spoke about it a little bit before starting the podcast, but it's your story in terms of your upbringing in South Africa and kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
how you got to where you are today. I guess just to kind of give people a bit of the a bit of the gold right now, and then perhaps we can go into your story as well after that. Um, what advice would you give people into their careers who are just starting out, maybe a junior slash mid level, into getting into those higher positions within the Power Platform? Like, is the advice to stick to the Power Platform? Is it to learn Copilot? Like, what would you say those people can do to get to the next level, and what should they be doing?
So number one, I think my advice is it doesn't matter where you come from, right? Like, I mean,
Mm,
I don't exactly have the most easy background in the world. I can promise you that now. But what I can tell you is like, if it's more about determination and just being very much yourself, I think in the Power Platform community and actually in any community, like owning owning the way you do things is really important. Like I'm going to give you an
mm,
example here. Okay. So I know what I'm very good at. I have the saying that some leaders are managers, some managers are leaders, not all leaders are managers. I'm not a manager. Okay.
yeah.
I just suck at managing people. And I've identified that immediately off the bat. I'm like, I love inspiring people and leading and being trying to get folks engaged, but when it comes down to managing people, I'm terrible at it. I
Mm,
just suck at it. So I identified areas in my personality and areas that I wanted to work on, which I have been, and areas that I just didn't want to work on, and management is one of them. I was just like, I'm never going to like this. I'm never going to be good at it. No matter how many people told me to manage people, I just hated it, right? I love the people. I hate the process. So, like the advice I'll give to you is be determined, but also identify the things you want to do really well and do those like really well, and identify the things that you don't want to do and just come to terms with the fact. And something that I'll tell you is not being a manager will never allow me to be a C-suite person. And I'm like, that's fine by me. I know that, right? Like I'm just not built that way. I can be an evangelist, I can be an individual contributor, um, but it's just something that I'm not good at, right?
mm.
And sadly, I feel like a lot of people don't spend enough time saying, this is what I'm not good at, and I'm not wanting to do it. So yeah, I did it in Power Platform as well. I'm like, you know what? I'm never going to be a custom developer again. I just owned it, man. I'm like, I'm never going to be a custom developer again. I don't think I can write code, not very well. I can read code, but it's just not a thing I want to do. I don't want to build PCFs.
Yeah.
So it's like, what I want to do is strategy. So I'm like, okay, how do I do that? So I identified where I wasn't good and things I didn't want to do, and I wrote them down. And then I wrote down the things I did want to do, and I went for the things I did want to do, and I did those hopefully really well.
Yeah.
So that's my
I love
advice.
that.
And yeah, you don't have to worry about the tech. Just worry about you.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I love that. And I love how you didn't give technical advice. I love how you went straight for what people call soft skills or, softer knowledge, but,
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that soft skill whatsoever. I think it's so important. Okay, so now we kind of went over that. Tell me about South Africa because, I know you learned a
Yeah.
lot in your experiences there before moving to the UK. So, how was it for you?
So SA was weird, right? Like I grew up in a very interesting scenario where I would say, how do I frame this? In South Africa is a weird place, right? Because depending on where you live, you're indoctrinated with a lot of interesting things, right?
Mm,
So you're inherently, depending on like parents and schools and things, you're kind of inherently taught to do and be a certain way. So one of the things that I was taught was racism, like and quite hardcore as well, right? Like
mm,
you know, in school, there's a lot of division between black and white and all that type of thing. And then there's also different languages and things like that. And you don't really know it's happening at the time. So when I was kind of, oh, I don't know, I can't even remember the age. Like I kind of knew, but I kind of didn't know because I had a lot of different types of friends. And then there was a person in my life who was incredibly influential who was very, very racist. And then I noticed it. And then I was like, oh, wow. And I started noticing it like making me, I was becoming more that way inclined, but also like making me more uncomfortable, if that makes sense. And what I also noticed was that I was getting more angry, like really quickly. So, like, I would be in the country and just be so mad, right? Like, struggling with headaches. And it was always person X's fault when they were on the road. Like, somebody cut you off and you're like, ah, dumb person or dumb this or dumb that. And like it was getting to a point where hatefulness was becoming a real problem, and like it is so deeply ingrained in a lot of South Africans. I think it's gotten so much better. Like after going back in January, I can tell you it has gotten so much better, like so much better, which I'm so grateful for. But when you're in that era, it's not easy. Okay. And so I was like, oh, you know what? I've like this is just too much for me. I have to leave. There were other reasons as well, like monetary stuff. Like I got into a bit of trouble with cash. Like I've never been good with money, but I got into debt there, paid it all off. But also wrote off a couple of cars from like boozing too much. So could wasn't really looking after myself. Like was trying to block all of that stuff with work and alcohol and all that type of thing. So there were a lot of things at play, right? And then when I left, I was like, okay, I can do this. But when I left, I didn't realize how depressed I was. That's the scary part because you don't know. Like you actually don't know in your body just how sad you are, right? So when
Yeah.
I got to England, I remember like I never took pictures of myself, dude. I like quite honestly can tell you, I never took a single selfie in South Africa. And even in England, like it took me ages to be okay with taking like selfies and things. Now I'm a problem and I can't stop. But but it's quite funny, right? So you get into this mindset and I was alone for like a month and a half and I was like, oh crap, this is really hard. Like not being alone, but more having to deal with the fact that actually that's where I lived. And when you're here in the UK, things are so different, right? Like London's a cultural melting pot, man. It's
Oh
amazing.
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just,
It's crazy.
oh, dude, I love it, right? And
Yeah.
I was not very well traveled. Okay, that's the
Mm,
other thing I have to throw out there. Like, I'd been all over South Africa, and I'd been to Nigeria and Botswana and Mauritius.
mm,
Those are the only places I'd ever been.
yeah.
Okay, so I'd never really experienced cultural differentiation before. So I'd like met the odd Australian and German person in South Africa, but that was really it, right? So when
Mm,
a person was foreign and they came to visit us, everyone was like, "Oh wow." Um, so coming here, like I had to deal with quite a lot of strange reconditioning. And when I tell you you can recondition yourself and relearn things and or unlearn and relearn, you can. And here's an interesting story. I remember sitting at a train station bar in Paddington. It was some crappy, I can't remember. And I was sitting next to there were four people at the table I'd never met. None of us had ever met. We were just shooting the shit at the station because we kind of were waiting for late trains, right? Um, and the guys were talking to me, and there was this amazing lady. I can't remember her name, but she was Scottish, and man, she was more foul mouthed than I am, which made me happy. But she's like yapping and going off about stuff, and then there were the other two guys' names. You'll never believe it, were Chris as well, both of them.
Oh,
And there was
crazy.
another chap, and the question came up we were all chatting, and they said, "Where are you from?" I said, "South Africa." And I said, "You know what? I want to tell you all something. This is the strangest thing because until this point at this table, I had not realized I was talking to a white Scottish woman, a man from Asia/India, a black man, and another white guy." I'm like, I'd never registered in my head. I just was having the conversation and having a lot of fun.
Hmm.
And it was at that moment I'm like, this is good. Like I get it now
Yeah.
because this is what it's supposed to be like. You're supposed to be able to have those interactions without being worried about like ethnic issues or who's watching or what this person's going to think. And that was really interesting, right? Because then I was like, okay, this is actual reconditioning. This is actually unlearning.
Yeah.
And like it was kind of a conscious decision, but it wasn't as well, kind of thing. And then I started to actively think about it. I'm like, okay, if I can do this with this, I can do this with other things as well. So like religion as well, being brought up in like this brutally strict Christian Baptist, you're going to hell if you do anything wrong. There's still scars on that one. But I'm like, no, that's bullshit. I can recondition the way my brain works and rethink about how I perceive religion and relationship. And that, dude, was game changing.
Mm,
So it was from that point that I started learning about reconditioning my mind and kind of reprogramming neural pathways to make room for other things. And honestly, it was great. But in between that patch of that moment and coming into the UK, I must have been about 2 years. Like I'd ended up on my kitchen floor with a knife at one point, like just from overdoing it. Yeah, just from going way too overboard, not being able to contain my emotions, not being able to get rid of that like horrible feeling. It's like kind of like having this. The way I explain it to people, it's kind of like having a bowling ball in your chest, right? Like it's so
mm.
heavy and it's not nice. But when you figure out how to get rid of it, dude, it's game changing. I can tell you now, like getting rid of that like strict hardcore religious thing. I'm still I'm still Christian, just not very good at it. And getting rid of that like racism and that deep hate for people that weren't the same as me, dude, it was the best moment ever. It was one of the greatest moments of my existence. And can I
Yeah.
tell you, a lot of it came from traveling.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
crazy. And like similar to you, when I was younger, I wasn't well traveled, and I remember the
Yeah.
first time I went to Portugal. Like I went to like three places at the time. It was Norway to see my uncle, a place called Kurdistan, which is in Iraq, which is like where my parents are from,
Yeah.
and yeah, that was it. And I was born and raised in London, so kind of had everything you needed in London. So when I went to Portugal, my mind just completely opened, and
Yeah.
from that day, my life hasn't been the same. Like
I'm
I'm
glad.
feeling, yeah, like so determined, so driven, and willing to do that. And it's because I traveled. Like I always tell people, if you want to change your life, get out of your city, where you were born. Get
Ah, I
out.
love that. I love that.
Like go somewhere else, and it's amazing. It's
You,
interesting what.
I
Oh, sorry,
love
please.
that. No, 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 go for
Yeah.
it. I'm getting excited now.
No, 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 like no worries. I mean, about mental health as well. Like, I have a personal story with that, which I've shared on this podcast before, but I'll share again because it
Yeah.
needs to be reiterated. I suffered for years with chronic acid reflux, and it sounds nasty, but what it is basically every time I went to bed, I would shoot up in the middle of the night, 3, 4 a.m., with throwing up just plain
I've heard of
white
this.
stomach acid, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
And for years, I told myself it was a problem. I got endoscopies and all the kind of, it was being considered for surgery. Where all the
Yeah.
doctors were like, we can't find what's wrong with you. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. And
Mm.
it was completely heartbreaking. I had a conversation with my girlfriend's dad, and he was like, had a similar experience, couldn't sleep at night, and he's been struggling with some stuff in terms of kind of what was going on in his life at the time. And I started to take care of my mental health a little bit better.
Mm.
And slowly it started going away and it went away. And now like I don't feel it anymore. And this was recent. Like this is like a few months ago, if you
Mate,
can
I'm
believe. So
so glad.
yeah. But like it hits me when you say people don't notice. Like sometimes you just need to pause and just say, hey, like am I one of those people? And then try and get some help. So
Dude,
man.
please, hey, like I recommend to people, if you think you are one, just hit us up because
Mm,
I've got this weird analogy for you, and one of my friends gave it to me long ago. Existing is a bit like one of those stoves or a hob, okay, like a
mm,
gas hob, and it's got those four burners. And I'm like, so I break it down into mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical. Okay,
mm-hmm.
you can break it down into things like relationship, work, family, but I use the other four because it like resonates with me. But I'm like, okay, so if you turn on all four plates really high, there's a chance that they'll burn, but they'll all be at like mid-level, okay, because of the
Mm,
gas coming in. But sometimes when you turn one, the other three will go higher, or there might be one that goes even higher. So at any point in your life, I'm always like, okay, there's always going to be one plate burning higher than the rest, right? So for me, at that time, it was my emotional state, and not in a good way,
mm.
right? Because I'd moved countries. So I got married, I moved countries. Sorry, I got married, I sold all my stuff, I moved countries, and I changed job all within 3 weeks. Not even
Wow.
2 weeks, yeah. And it's quite hardcore, man. So I always think like when your emotional state's running that high, like think of the stove scenario. Okay, so what do you do to counteract that? Okay, so what I do is I'm like, what am I always in the most control? And that's my physical state. I'm like, I'm always in the most control in my physical state. So I started going to gym every morning at 5 a.m. or
Yeah.
5:30 because I'm like, that's the thing I can control. So if I can control that, then I feel more in control of the other three things. So I started going to gym. Dude, went to gym. Now when I go to events, you're going to laugh at me. I carry around pre-made protein stuff in my bag. I carry
Cool.
around Huel drinks, and I go to gym even if I can't find one. I have bands like that I use,
Mm.
but I will
Interesting.
actively look for a gym. Yeah, because it's the thing that I am most in control of because it's my physical. I can like maybe my mental state may not be so good, but I know if I'm in control of that, then I'm good. Then I'm like, all right,
Mm.
if I'm in control of that, what are other things that I can control more? So I'm like, I can control my emotions a little bit more. Like I'm a highly emotive guy. One of my friends said to me today, she's like, oh, I'm extremely hormonal. I'm like, dude, have you met me? I'm like literally the most hormonal man in the world, right? So I'm like, okay, I can control that. So what I started doing is I started taking St. John's wort tablets to like chill me out. It's not, it's all herbal. Then I'm like, okay, what make me happy? So I'm like, my kids make me happy, my friends make me happy, my family makes me happy, my wife makes me happy. How do I do more of that. So I started doing that. And I started spending more time with people that I knew gave a shit about me and I gave a crap about as well, but also
Yeah.
taking that energy and not just giving all the time. And then I started working on my mental states a bit more. Because now that I'm like going physically okay, I'm doing well at like the family thing and the friends thing and all of that. How can I mentally be better? And that's what I'm still struggling with.
Hmm.
Mental and um uh, re- uh spiritual. Those are the two. I'm quite spiritual. Like those are the two that I struggle with the most
Hmm. Yeah.
because I know the other two I can control. And my advice to anyone on the call: think about that in your work life. So think about work, family, exercise, and whatever, right? Like which one are you in the most control of? And then take control of that thing as much as you can, and then do really good there. And once you're happy, then you move on. Don't try and do all of them at once. It won't work.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
Yeah,
Chris, I didn't plan for this question, but I'm interested to ask it.
yeah,
I'm early in my career. I don't
yeah.
believe in balance. Like I think in life there's going to be as times as you mentioned a plate, there's going to be one plate that's burning hotter than the others, and sometimes it's going to loop one way and sometimes it's going to loop the other. How do you manage your work and how do you manage your life? I think that's a better question than asking how do you balance. How do you manage it? I guess is my question. You mentioned the gym, which is amazing, game changer
Yeah.
for me. Is there anything else you do to prioritize that, or do you just kind of go in on a day by day basis?
No. So I'm extremely good at managing my time. I
Mm.
wasn't, but I have calendars. So I have I have a number of job things. I'm not going to go into more detail, but I have a number of job things that entail working for within the community, within my job, and then within my side hustle. Okay.
Yes.
And like what I do is I think about the things again that are most important in my work. So today I had to do an AI presentation to an organization talking about like Foundry and that. So I thought, okay, I have a whole bunch of other stuff to do, but actually, number one, I'm really interested in AI. Number two, I feel like this will benefit me and the company. So that's how I do it. I always think about like, what is going to be good for me? What is going to be good for the people I'm presenting to or working with? And if neither are good, then I'm not going to do them until much later, right?
Mm.
And so I spent most of the weekend learning more about like how Foundry fits together. Thank you to Louise Fries, by the way, for sharing that video because, dude, it was great.
Hmm.
Um, it, I put it on my LinkedIn post, but like I always think about that, and then I score them. It's the craziest thing. I have this like little grading system that I go, okay. And I also don't believe in balance, by the way. I believe that things
Mm.
come in waves, right?
Yes.
And it's accepting the fact that you may be in a down wave when it happens.
Hmm.
Like Trevor Noah says it beautifully, you're living in between storms. Just accept the fact, and when the storm comes, deal with it. Okay. So, and I love him, by the way. But anyway, so I pick the things that matter to me the most. Um, and if, and also to me, like I have this thing with people. If it's urgent, you've made it my problem. It's not urgent,
Mm.
right? Like I have a specific way of dealing with things. So that's how I prioritize. I always think about the things that matter the most to me, matter the most to the people around me. And if it's neither of those two, then you go to the bottom of the list. Yeah. And it sounds mean, dude. I used to score meetings. I used to have a meeting scoring system.
Wow.
If somebody put a meeting in my diary and I'm like, is this going to benefit me? Yes. Is this going to benefit my customer? Yes. Because if it doesn't benefit me, but only benefits my customer, then I'll do it. But it's kind of like your heart's not in it.
Mm.
So you've got to really make sure that like you're picking the right things, and also you're not going to want to be in the room. So does it benefit my customer? Does or whoever does it benefit me? Do we both get something out of this? Awesome. Okay. Then what is this all about? What is the subject matter?
Love
And
that.
like I actually developed a scoring system that I used, and I sent it to my boss once, and he's like, "This is wild." I'm like, "Well, dude, yeah."
I mean,
So time is time, man. It's the only thing, as the mighty Tony Stark said, no amount of money ever bought a second of time.
yeah, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
An amazing quote. Chris, I'm aware that we're coming towards the end of our time, and I want to give you 10 minutes before you have to jump in to the next commitment you have. But I always like to ask this at the end
Hmm.
because it's important to me. We spoke about it, we alluded to it, but if you had to define it, what does happiness/contentment mean to you?
Oh, what an awesome question. So first of all, I don't believe that there is such a thing as like contentment
Mm.
because I do think that. as an adventurer, for me, contentment for me, I believe that as an adventurer and as somebody who is never okay with just what's happening. Like,
Mm.
dude, I've always had side hustles. I've always had things on the go. Like, I'm studying planetary sciences. I play drums. I play guitar. Like, if there's not, like, there's always something, right?
Yeah.
And, I'm going to start playing rugby now, and that's me adventuring. It might not work. Like I say to people all the time, like, it might not work for you, but as long as you're giving it a go. Like, I'll tell you something. Here's an analogy for you, a random one. I bought a set of rollerblades probably about 4 years back, sort of in COVID, and I was playing roller hockey. And it was fun. Like, I played with my friends for about 6 months, and I ditched it because I'm like, dude, I bailed so many times, I nearly broke my coccyx. So I'm like, no, I'm out. Funniest thing is that your things that you drop or you might not do, other people might pick them up. And now my daughter is running around in the yard in my rollerblades and going outside.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. So don't assume contentment is like an actual thing. If you're somebody like maybe me and you who want to adventure and who don't believe in the simple thing of balance, right?
Hmm.
Happiness. That's a really hard question, dude, because I feel like happiness is really something that you define and you make. And I remember being a kid and being happy playing in a cardboard box. And now that wouldn't make me happy unless I had tons of tequila.
Yeah.
So like you see what I mean? It's so subjective. So I feel like happiness for me is where I have those four plates, those four stove plates burning at whatever levels they need to burn at the time in a manner that fulfills my lifestyle. That's what I think. And sometimes, man, you got to dial it down. Like sometimes you got to dial down the gym to go and do some studying. That makes me happy because I'm doing some studying. Sometimes you can study while you go to gym, like I did it this morning.
Yeah.
But that's happiness, right? I believe that like managing that process and understanding how to manage that process is what will make somebody happy. That's what makes me
Agreed.
happy.
Yeah. I love that. That's one of the
Yeah.
best answers we got on the
What is
show.
what
Love
is
it,
it?
Chris.
What is it to you?
Man, I'm still trying to figure that out. I
Yeah.
mean, look, man, I mean, it's difficult because I think, as you've mentioned, life comes at you at waves. You don't know when to expect the next storm. And I think it's just a case of when those storms come, managing them the best you can and going to bed knowing that you managed that the best you could and you gave it your all. And even though
Mm.
sometimes you may have overreacted, sometimes you may have said the wrong thing, done the wrong thing, you're going to bed knowing, hey, like that's what I had today. And you wake up and try and be better. And I think happiness for me is progress as well as kind of
Yes.
sometimes lowering that just to kind of take a step back and evaluate everything. But it fluctuates, so maybe that will change in like a few weeks. I like to
Yeah,
journal a
yeah.
lot, and I've
Dude,
messed
I
around with that
agree.
topic. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a weird one, isn't it?
Oh, I love it. I think you found my new party question.
Yeah, I love it. All right, Chris. Last few minutes. Just want to roll out the red carpet for you. You've been an amazing guest. What do you have
Thank you,
going
sir.
on? Where can the people find you? Floor is yours.
So I just got loads going on, man. I guess I'm going to a bunch of conferences. No, uh, I think so LinkedIn's probably the best place because I'm trying to be super responsive, but if not, just man, like hit me up on email or chris@chrishuntingford.com. Like I'll do my best to respond, but I'm pretty open about it. And yeah, don't phone me because I'll never answer my phone. That's literally not going to happen. But yeah, the conferences, there's tons of good stuff happening. So Color Cloud, Dynamics Minds, Power Platform Conference are like the next things that are happening. So yeah, if you're there, please come and find me. Because yeah, I'd love to nerd out. I think it's so much fun. So
Yeah.
hell yeah, man. And if you're around, I'd love to hang out with you, Helling.
Absolutely, man. We can get a
Yeah.
coffee. Amazing. It's one of my favorite
Yes.
things to do. All
Oh, hell
right,
yeah.
Chris, thank you so much for your time. And
Thank
thank
you
you
for
to
having
those.
me.
No, my pleasure. And thank you so much to those at home. You found out where to find Chris. Bug him if you want to,
Yes.
but don't expect the reply very, very soon. He's a busy man. Chris, thank you so much for your time with that considering. And I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, man. And please keep on doing what you're doing because you're doing an incredible job. And I've loved your guests that you've had. It's been really
Oh,
good.
thank you.
And you, sir, are a
Thank you.
great host.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. I like to listen and I like to talk. So I guess it works
Yeah.
out for me.
Hell yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Chris. Take it easy. Bye bye.
Thank you, brother. You too. Ciao.